Okay, so you're saying that you're long-term positive on India, but in the very near term, of course, there is pressure and the fundamentals are not supportive. So if one wants to top up, what are the sectors that you like? Because we're noticing a change in trend, right? The domestic-facing sectors in India are picking up quite a bit, whether it's paints, consumption, the FMCG guys like Britannia, the auto sector. What are the spaces that you like now?
Right. I think the first thing I would like to say that the fundamentals are still good. It's just that the valuation at this point in time is not as constructive as it was in June. So with that being said, I think also if you look at the Nifty sectoral indices, the domestic or the inward looking indexes like auto, FMCG, they have done much better than IT and pharma. Banking, YTD, I'm talking about YTD performance. Banking has not done as well, but we expect that to change. Also, it is in these sectors, domestic facing sectors like auto, banks, capital goods, real estate. There we see the valuation comfort as well. The domestic facing sector where the valuation comfort is relatively less is the consumer staples and consumer discretionary ex auto sector. But barring that, I think the domestic facing sector, auto, banks, then real estate and capital goods fits into the fundamental India story, and I would say the valuation is also still supportive.
Rana, so the view is a little cautious right now. Where is IT services in all of this? I mean, it gets hit as problems in US and the rest of the world grow, but it's already hit quite a bit. So at some point, it would have discounted a lot of bad news yet to come. Any thoughts?
Yes, I think for IT services, obviously with such a large portion from US and then global businesses, I think it's the top line outlook was very good until this far, but the top line outlook will get challenged. But we have to remember one thing: these IT companies are pretty resilient in their business model. So although the top line might get challenged, what can happen is that the margins can begin to hold up. So we have to look for a scalable player, diversified player with good margin defenses. Typically, the larger cap companies within the slightly smaller cap or rather medium cap companies, there are a few companies that are can be looked at on the bottom up basis. But I think one has to look at businesses which are diversified and have got good margin defense in terms of their attrition pyramid.
All right, Rana, we'll leave it there today. Thanks a lot for joining us. On IT, yes, because the big issue is what happens with the